I think what we're going to be talking about today is really, really important because this is something that comes up for both you and I very frequently in our conversations with women and with the women that we work with. And that is to stop waiting for the man who's not stepping up and do this instead. So, Helena, welcome once again. And let's just jump right in and share some of your thoughts on this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is something I see really every day. Literally, I hear from women who are kind of stuck on a man who's not fully stepping up or committing to her or showing up consistently for her. I'm sure you hear that all the time as well. I have certainly been there myself, so I know exactly what that feels like. And it can be the hardest thing, but I believe it's the most important thing to detach from the men who just aren't doing the job or who aren't right for you or ready for the kind of relationship you want. So yeah, this is some of the most important information we could probably ever share with women.
You know what, Helena, I think this is a really tricky thing for a lot of women too, because here's the thing. A lot of times these men that we're talking about give us just enough encouragement or just enough hope that kind of keeps us hanging on there, right?
And oh yeah.
Sometimes,
I was just going to say they give you just enough crumbs to keep you there, but not enough to fully make you happy and feel truly secure in the relationship. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like you're seated at the banquet table, but you're still starving.
Such a good way to put it. Yeah, definitely.
It's like you can see all of the delicious food there, but you can't have any of it. That's what it can kind of feel like.
Yeah. And sometimes depending on our old history or maybe what our parents or caretakers are like, that can feel very familiar to us, right? It's like, that's what maybe love felt like to us earlier in life. If you had to work hard to win over your parents' love or attention, right? That can feel familiar. And so when a man comes along and he's just giving you crumbs, that feels like home to you, right? And your subconscious is just kind of pulling you or keeping you stuck on what feels familiar. It's like, this is a dance you know how to do. And then it's just such a devastating cycle. I see women developing beliefs that this is all that's out there, or maybe this is the best I can do. Maybe men are just like this now. And so it keeps them attracting more and more experiences like that. It keeps them attracting men just like that, which makes them stay stuck on this original man. I've just seen this happen over and over and over. Of course, I've been there myself. I think we all have to a certain degree, right? So yeah, this is such an important cycle or pattern to turn around.
Yeah. And I think it gets harder and harder sometimes for a woman to let go of that kind of relationship, especially when she has so much invested in it. Because somewhere in the back of our minds, we keep thinking, at some point, he's going to realize that he doesn't want to live without me, or that he's really going to want to commit to me, or he's really going to want more. But we can't be with a man based on potential of what we hope will happen or how we hope he'll start showing up, or on a relationship based on how we hope it will be. We have to base it on the reality of what is.
So true. Such a good point. I always love everything you say. Yeah. It's like we think, oh, if I can just be good enough or do, say these perfect 9 words to make him fall in love. That's when we start Googling relationship advice for all the wrong reasons. We've all been there, myself included, a decade or so ago. And it's a great thing because that's what can bring you to this work, to what turn some of these patterns around within yourself and attract the right man. I mean, truly, if this guy in question here is the right one for you, he's going to step up. And if he's not, he's just going to fade away. And you don't have to micromanage it more than just shifting your own beliefs and your own self-love and really amping up your own self-worth and value so that the right man just sees that, or the men who are a reflection of that are going to show up into your experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing that I say often to women, Helena, that I think goes along with this is that it's important to remember that the wrong guy can still be a really nice guy. So usually when we think about the wrong guy, we think of him as having some major fatal flaw or some big red flag or that sort of thing. But the wrong guy can be any man who's not not ready to be in a relationship with you for whatever the reason. If you want a real relationship and for whatever reason he's not able to be there for you, he can still be the wrong guy for you to continue to invest your precious life energy into.
That's so true. Yeah, he can be really smart and charming and sensitive and funny. He can be emotionally unavailable, and still be a wonderful guy at the same time. But that still makes him the wrong guy, right? The seemingly right guy at the wrong time, or he's just not really showing up consistently for you, is still the wrong guy, in my opinion, if what you're looking for is something deeper, a more committed relationship.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I think this sometimes gets really tricky and confusing for women. And then they've got a lot of time and energy and effort and feelings invested in this man. It can be really hard to let go of that kind of a relationship.
Absolutely. That can be the hardest thing. But what I've seen, and I'm curious as to your experience too, working with women, is once a woman breaks out of that cycle, she starts attracting men on a whole new level. It's like she's engaging with men on this kind of low level, men who don't fully step up, men who aren't commitment minded or who don't want the same things as she does. Once she detaches from that, she kind of moves up to the next tier or the next level. And then she starts attracting men up here very quickly, who are totally all in and ready for the kind of relationship she wants, and who are very into her and who would never dream of keeping her waiting or disappearing or hurting her.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because I think when a woman finally does get to that point where she's able to let go, or to decide for herself that she's no longer willing to settle for that kind of a relationship, she's coming into her own value in a new way. She's gaining a new sense of her own value, and she's being more true to herself and what she wants. And I think that energetically tends to attract different kinds of people into her life than if she's in the mindset or feeling of, this is all I can have, this is the best I can do, or this is all I deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't really see very often, again, I'm curious, your experience with this, women who are kind of engaging with men or hanging on to him energetically, even by constantly thinking and obsessing and what can I do to make him fall in love with me and want to commit. If they're engaging with men on that level, I don't often see them at the same time simultaneously attracting a man up here who's totally available and ready for the kind of relationship she wants. So you have to break out of this cycle first. Now that could involve a breakup potentially, or a conversation, or it could just simply be working on yourself to the point where you start getting bored and losing interest in any man who's not ready and able to have the kind of relationship that you're looking for. So yeah, you often have to end the cycle here, disengage from this man or this kind of man, move up to the next level or the next tier, and then this man will meet you up here or not. But you don't want to choose him down here, then try and inch him up to where you want to be. It just doesn't work that way. At least I've never really seen that. Right.
Well, it's exhausting too for a woman, because a woman doesn't want to feel like she's dragging a man along toward the path of commitment or to a deeper level of a relationship. I mean, what woman wants to do that? No woman wants to do that.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Like you said, it just doesn't work either. It's
right.
Like pushing a boulder up a hill. You might get it a little far up, but the second you take your eyes or your hands off it, it's just going to roll right back down the hill. So yeah, I like to give women a whole nother way of going about this, to where, attracting and meeting the one is much more effortless and can happen a lot more quickly than maybe she's experienced before.